in that trip. So to commemorate that historical moment in Waterloo, Iowa, if you're familiar with the Washington Park in Waterloo, does anyone know about Washington Park in Waterloo? Yes. Washington Park is where Dr. King, now when he came there, remember it's 1959, people didn't know, they only heard information by radio. They didn't have cable, they didn't have all the good stuff we have today. And so some of the African American ministers and some of the other ministers in the other communities, they were going by what they had heard on the radio and all the propaganda about Dr. King. So some of them were afraid to meet with him and to talk with him. And all he wanted to do was see what Iowa was like. But one church, there were a couple of churches in the area called Church Row in Waterloo, Iowa, where there's like 15 churches within 3 square blocks. And they opened their doors and said, you can come here and speak. So that was his first speaking engagement at First Congregational Church in Waterloo, Iowa. It just so happens that while he was waiting to speak at First Congregational, he waited in Washington Park, because the other churches wouldn't let him in. So he was in that park waiting. Can you imagine having your doors closed to Dr. King and tell him to wait in the park? So now that Washington Park is now, we're going to commemorate his historical visit, and it's going to be called the Martin Luther King Peace Walk Memorial at Washington Park. And we hope to break ground very soon. So before you leave, the backstory and the flyer and all the information regarding that is on that table. Also, sign your name on the petitions, and your name will be inscripted in that memorial. You can go on the website and take a virtual tour of what the park will look like. It's beautiful. So you have everything to be proud of. Dr. King came to Iowa in 1959, and after 1959, I want you to go on your timeline, go on your history books, go after his visit in November, go on the timeline, his national timeline, find out what happened to Dr. King afterwards. He resigned from his church. He did all kinds of things, life-changing decisions. We don't know what he saw in Iowa that imbued him to do some of the things he did. But when he left, he shared with my mother about the people in Iowa, how beautiful the state was. I mean, wonderful things. No one knew that. So we're very proud to have this park in Waterloo, Iowa, and we welcome you to come down and visit. So stop by and sign a petition and get some information before you leave. Thank you so much for having us.